if I'm a little fucking snippy.
That's fine.
I'm hurt and I'm old and I'm fucking tired. And I work with fucking children.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to GEEKLY Live. We are here on a Monday evening. We're still in Vegas for some reason, but I am here currently in my new dwelling, my new residence, and I'm fucking hurt and I'm fucking old. And
you're hurt and you're old. How old are you?
Yeah. I don't know if I told you, but you can kind of see it's slowly receding here. But I brought this up when we were doing my Double or Nothing live stream.
Yeah, we did talk about it, yeah.
And this crazed man from Chicago showed up at my door and bit me. I don't know what his deal was. I don't think he liked me talking trash about him on this show.
Yeah, no kid.
Yeah, so we're here back again, and well, once again, we have to talk about that man you saw earlier at the start of the show.
Man.
That he lost his absolute mind at the press conference in September, right after All Out. That's the last time we saw him. I guess not. That was on TV. That was on like YouTube or whatever. But yeah, he's officially been announced to return at the first episode of AEW Collision, emanating out of the United Center in Chicago. There were some reports of maybe some problems with getting him on board for whatever they were doing, and him demanding Ace Steel, the man who I'm currently suing for biting, demanding he be on site to produce the shows. I don't know how much of it I really believe. It seemed like my wacky theory, Soda, and this I think there's other people online that might share this belief with me, but I believe that I think we talked about this maybe a little bit before during the watch along, but I think that there are people, whether or not they work for AEW or they know people that work for AEW or whatnot, that feed false information or not even false, but like an exaggeration of what's actually going on to the dirt sheets, to Brian and Dave specifically for some reason. Whereas somebody like Sean Ross Sapp seems to maybe have other people that are reporting to him, and he kind of gets the scoops.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas Brian and Dave, they've notoriously been deemed their track record not as what it was recently.
You are right, probably with the scoops, because I follow Sean Ross Sapp on Twitter, and I don't think I've ever actually seen him at a pay-per-view since I followed him.
Yeah, he doesn't usually.
Yeah, like he was there at WrestleMania weekend, but I think he left like on night one or something.
So I don't know. I have nothing to back this up, but if it's kind of funny if I worked or knew people in AEW and somehow had access to information before others, I feel like I might just to fuck with them, send an exaggerated version of the story to Brian and Dave because they're very easy to fuck with. But no, I don't. I probably would. I respect them enough to not be that much of a troll, but
it does seem like it sometimes, though, especially with Dave.
It does seem that way. It does seem like there are people that are just giving him false info. But anyway, that being said, it seemed like if there were any problems with Punk, they worked it out, and he's now officially.
Ace Steel is working on creative, actually, most particularly CM Punk's storyline. So he has been hired back, and it's been a while. He has been hired for a while. I think that's why Punk is. They finally agreed. Okay, he can do it, but just stay away from the freaking locker room.
Or just stay on his own show. That's the thing that's also been reported.
Like originally, like you said, they wanted him to do it from home. So
you're talking about Ace Steel, okay?
Yeah, Ace Steel, not Punk. No, I'm talking Steel. It sounds like the whole thing Ace was crushed by Ace Steel. So
yeah, that's at least what the reports were saying. But I don't know, man. I don't even know what to believe when it comes to some of these reports or behind the scenes drama anymore. It's just. I'm just kind of at the point like I'm so sick of it. Can I just like enjoy the wrestling? Damn it! Like, why do I have to always hear about all this nonsense behind the scenes?
I'm at that point where I've managed to just it's background noise. I read it. Yeah, whatever. Next.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So Punk officially back at the Chicago United Center Collision debut.
Yep.
There's rumors of him potentially his first feud back being with Samoa Joe, which I would be super down for, given their history in Ring of Honor and everything. That's a pretty awesome sounding match right there.
I've heard that he's got his eye now on Switchblade Jay White.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and we also hear that there's going to be certain guys relegated to certain shows, so you probably won't see Punk on Dynamite unless like the Elite aren't there for a week for whatever reason.
The way I heard it was, if you're on one show, you can't be on the other during the week. So if you say you're on Collision and you go do Dynamite, then you can't be on Collision that week.
Interesting. But I also hear that rule won't apply to the champions. So you could
which makes sense.
Yeah, you could see like Orange Cassidy defending his international title on Wednesday and on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll kind of have
poor guy.
Yeah, we'll kind of have to wait and see. I always hate kind of saying that, but wait and see how this all goes and how long do you give it, Soda, until either Punk gets hurt or he has some meltdown backstage or behind the scenes again, like a couple months?
I give it the 2-year anniversary of his return. With Labor Day weekend. 2 months.
You're saying no issues with Punk until we get to All Out. And
basically, yeah.
So once
because that'll be the first time that everyone will be under the same roof.
Yeah, well, what about Wembley Stadium though? That's a pretty big show. You got to figure everybody's gonna be on that one, regardless of the drama and who they are.
I think with Wembley though, there's enough space there that you might be able to get away with it.
Yeah. No, it's just interesting because like I feel like I've worked at like music events, for example, where maybe there's people there that don't get along. Booked in different bands, and it's a band that just broke up and they have different members, but they're playing the same day on the same festival or whatever it is. So what do? What's the solution? Well, the guy that's not playing stays on his bus while the other guy plays. And then they, when that guy's done, he leaves the stage and he goes to his bus. So that's, if I was Tony Khan, that's how I would organize it. I would be like, you have a bunch of fucking security guards and the guys that don't get along over here on their bus. And then you got Punk and his unit and his crew over here on a different side of the arena in their buses, and so no interaction. They just coordinate it all backstage so that there's no interaction between the two parties. It sucks that they have to do that, but that's what I would do. If I was
unless they've reached another agreement or something like that. But that makes sense. And with Jericho, he being a rock star who does those music tours, that sounds like something he might know about.
Yeah,
it does sound plausible.
So so that's the deal there. I don't know like how this is all gonna go down. I feel like it's like patching the sinking ship with duct tape a little bit, but we'll see. I just really, why can't they all just be adults and get along? Like,
this is the wrestling. Come on,
because it's pro wrestling. All right, fair enough. But so we'll see what happens with Punk. We'll see what happens with the Elite. Speaking of the Elite, we had some Elite stuff going down this week. We can talk about Dynamite a little bit and the fallout from Double or Nothing. But
before we do that, I want to bring something up. Today is the 1-year anniversary of a pretty important moment in professional wrestling history.
Okay.
It is the 1-year anniversary of the titty match.
Oh, man.
Cody Rhodes competed in Hell in a Cell with a torn pec.
Man, that's crazy.
Can't believe it's been a year already. Holy shit.
That went by way too damn fast.
Yeah. Still one of the more impressive things I've seen ever while watching wrestling live.
Yeah, I think that was in both of our maybe top 3 matches of the year last year. I would have to go back and look.
Yeah, that was definitely up there.
Yeah. So very impressive that Cody was able to do that, get that match out of the way. And just still a shame that he after all that he still lost. LOL Cody.
I'm starting to I believe that it's going to be 40 now.
No, he's gonna go in 40 and he's gonna lose.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, look, Cody was a huge part of All Elite Wrestling, and I think another huge piece. Like it's still crazy to think about that he ended up back over there, and like with the Elite, there's all this talk of, well, their contracts, they're trying to lock them down for contracts, right? And does Punk coming back play into that, to their decision? Like, what are they all going to do? There was if any of you watched BTE this week, there was a thing on there where they're kind of joking about getting different contracts from different people and which one do they take? You know, that's just going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, man.
Like I would
be fun.
I would heavily lean in the direction that they will re-sign with All Elite Wrestling, but I was saying that about Cody as well. So.
Yeah, but I mean, Cody's a little bit different, though. He had unfinished business. If you actually think and look at it, like, it was a no-brainer that he was going to sign there.
Yeah, right. Well, if you look back at it in retrospect, it was like, wow, I guess I was silly to think that
that was always the goal he set out to do, and he actually did it. So, yeah, it was inevitable that he was going to return there at some point.
It was weird. I was going back and watching some old clips of him on AEW right before he left, and just the boos, man. There's people booing the shit out of him. Yeah. There was that one match, he was in that tag match, and he tossed his belt into the crowd, and they threw it back, and they hit Aubrey by accident, and oh, man.
I still remember, it's like, oh, will he turn heel? Oh, is that when he turned? And then he comes to WWE, and it clicks, and it's like, oh, okay.
Immediately, he's a massive babyface, super over. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, but
respect that man.
Yeah, respect him. Wrestling in Hell in a Cell with a torn tricep. That's pretty crazy.
Like that's just the cherry on top. But I mean, just for what he did, he left, went out, proved himself big time, proved out his wrong, like selling out for All In, like
the first one.
Starting a company, he's fucking doing what his dad did, and it's impressive.
Yeah. So we talked about his tricep injury and everything. Somebody else that is dealing with a tricep injury right now, unfortunately, is Lance Archer from AEW, but he managed to wrestle the match against Will Ospreay on Dominion, and Ospreay won, as we all figured he would. So naturally, more big news coming out of that show. I just watched. I've watched all of it up until the main event, so I still haven't watched the main event.
I'm watching Twitter and following people react about it, and I'm just sitting there going, Dagan must be giddy right now.
Oh yeah, there's some pretty entertaining stuff there. I mean, Will Ospreay has seemingly now feuding with the entire country of Canada. After that match, he said he's going to come into Kenny's territory and win that belt. So
God, it makes me jealous that I don't live on the East Coast now. I'm at Toronto.
Officially, I know. I said I was going to do everything in my power to attend Forbidden Door, no matter where it was, if it was in the United States.
Yeah,
and then of course it's not in the United States. So there goes that idea.
Drive to Toronto, can't you?
I could. I don't have my passport. I need to get it renewed. So
that's totally fair.
I wouldn't. I've got too much other stuff going on right now. Anyway, I wouldn't have been able to make it. But the official coming out of New Japan Dominion. As I said, I've watched almost all the show. It was a pretty noteworthy show. So we had Will Ospreay winning the match against Lance Archer. He's going to go on to face Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door.
Yeah,
and I think that there might be some. I was thinking about it more, and I'm going like, man, it feels like the second match. Right now, Kenny Omega's up 1-0, and he currently has the belt. Second match is either gonna go to like a time limit draw, or there's gonna be some shenanigans, or Don Callis helps Will Ospreay and costs Kenny Omega the title.
I have to be reading things like that about that. Like, it's kind of feels, because one of the things I remember is like it feels like the Blackpool Combat Club with Callis adjacent right now. Like, why do you want to replace William Regal instead do something. And then somebody brought up the United Empire, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. So Will Ospreay,
and Will Ospreay, the tag team Takeshita, led by Don Callis. I could work.
Could be interesting.
Yeah. You know what? I think Will Ospreay and Don Callis could be money.
It might be. I mean, Callis has been hyping up Ospreay a bit now on social media or whatever. So what I'm thinking is, Don Callis potentially costs Kenny the match, and there's mega molten levels of heat. Speaking of heat, okay, I think this week is good enough, Andy, to bring back this.
They want more heat.
More heat, yes.
More heat, mate!
His reaction when he came out with promo on Dynamite. Man, that was some molten level heat for that guy. I mean, you could barely. So apparently, Dave Meltzer was saying that somebody emailed him, and this guy was there with his wife, and his wife tried to talk to him during that segment, and he couldn't hear his wife. What? Like, he couldn't hear her because the crowd was booing so loud at Don Callis. But yeah, so with the amount of heat that he has right now, and the amount of heat that Ospreay potentially could have with, again, the entire country of Canada after the match against Archer, coming out backstage and just basically calling out everybody, Chris Jericho and Bret Hart, and just saying that everybody in Canada is supposedly super nice and everything, but they're actually just a bunch of assholes.
Well, we're nicer.
Can you confirm or deny these allegations by one William Ospreay?
Well, I will say the myth that we're super nice is over exaggerated. We're just nicer. That's about it. Nicer. Like, we're more inclined to be nice, but trust me, we have our own assholes.
Oh yeah. I mean, just watch any hockey game in Canada.
Right?
You know, Oilers versus Leafs or whatever it is. Like, they're going to fight. There's going to be a fight.
Like, Milan Lucic was considered, like, public enemy number one for years in his hometown. Like, I was living there during those years of the Bruins-Canucks rivalry, and, like, you would always hear shit. That, like, one time, people, egged something that belonged to his family. Like, they did something along those lines. Like, it was getting bad. There's a point where there's a quote that he said is like, the only time you'll ever see me here is in the arena.
Wow.
That was about 10 years ago.
I feel like if they book this right, Ospreay is going to just get absolutely demolished by this crowd, especially if there's some shenanigans and Callis helps him win. But
it's gonna be old school heat.
What's great about pro wrestling is the fact that he's going to be just the nastiest, most despicable heel here, right? And if he wins, that would make him and Kenny Omega even a piece at one.
Yep.
Do they have the rubber match in front of the 70,000 people at Wembley Stadium in Ospreay's home country, where he will then, 2 months after Forbidden Door, be the biggest fucking babyface on the planet, despite even if Don Callis is there? Like,
they'd have to at this point. It makes too much sense.
I think they kind of have to. I mean, we'll see how the second match goes, but if it's anywhere fraction as good as the first match, we're gonna have probably another serious classic on our hand, and then God knows what they'll do in a third blow-off match, maybe with a stip or something in front of all those people at Wembley Stadium. I can't. There's a lot of potential here. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, me neither. It's wrestling is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So, some other notes coming out of the New Japan Dominion show. We had new additions to the Bullet Club, which is now run by David Finlay. And it's just sort of definitely a different step away from what it was with Jay White. But I think for a little bit there, it had some pretty serious go-away heat with the fans. Like, people are not into this David Finlay Bullet Club. And I think that
Bullet Club is not where it used to be.
Yeah, and I was more in the camp of like, I want to give it time. Like, I want to see kind of where they go with this, and I'm a little bit more interested now after the events of Dominion. They've added 3 new members to Bullet Club, to this new David Finlay Killers and Savages only version of Bullet Club, and then we'll see if they do anything at Forbidden Door with Jay White and Juice Robinson in the mix over in the AEW side of things.
Maybe. But who are the members?
Well, right now it's just Jay White and Juice Robinson.
No.
They have to.
Yeah, like the.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
So David Finlay, they did an angle where you had so this guy Dan Maloney, who, if you know from the British Indies, he's been in New Japan now for a little bit. He was in the Best of the Super Juniors. He joined United Empire earlier this year.
Okay.
He was like handpicked by Ospreay or whatever, and kind of an interesting fit to the group. But he came out with TJP and Francisco Akira, and they won their belts, their IWGP Junior belts, back from Kushida and Kevin Knight in what was a great match. I think one of the better matches on that show. And then after the match, it's Maloney, and he's out there with Akira and TJP after they won their belts back. And there's a graphic played for Bullet Club. What is the hell is the name? War Dogs, Bullet Club War Dogs. It's like Bullet Club War Dogs. Who's this? And out comes Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin in full-on Bullet Club gear. A couple names you might Gabriel Kidd you might recognize if you follow UK wrestling, and then Alex Coughlin has been sort of in the New Japan farm system, if you would. He's one of Shibata's graduates from his crop of young lions at the LA Dojo.
Wow.
And so those two guys come out and sort of issue the challenge. And as Akira and TJP are standing there, Dan Maloney just decks them both in the back, and it's revealed that Dan Maloney has turned on the United Empire and now joined Bullet Club alongside the other guys. So
very nice.
And then they all came out together as David Finlay had his match where he retained the never openweight title against El Phantasmo. So some big stuff if you've been following the Bullet Club on that show.
Sounds interesting.
And it is interesting. And definitely I like that there's like a younger sort of edgier side to Bullet Club now. Again, I wasn't like super into it, but I think I'm now more interested in it than I was before after the stuff that played out on the show.
Yeah, hopefully they can start recapturing some of that old magic, because I remember once upon a time, like, you would see Bullet Club shirts everywhere, and even by non-wrestling fans.
Yeah, and I think that was like a big thing about Bullet Club for a while, is like, oh, you got to sell those T-shirts, right? But I mean, there have been iterations.
Who was in there at that time?
There have been some pretty legendary iterations of the Bullet Club. It's like it's kind of a high bar that they've set over the years with like
look who's come out of it, like
Prince Devitt, Cody Rhodes,
Prince Devitt or Finn Balor, for those of you who don't know.
Styles,
Gallows and
Anderson, the majority of the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks,
Cody Rhodes,
Hangman Page, all these guys. It's like they all seem to
Cole. Right.
Adam Cole. Yep. So a lot of big names have made their run through Bullet Club. So it's a lot to live up to. And yeah, anything following Jay White's version of Bullet Club, I think just is not going to be as good just initially. So it's going to kind of be different. You know what I mean? Like that's again, kind of a high bar to set. And I get that some people are just not into it and they're done, like sick of Bullet Club. All right, whatever, we get it. But I think if they're doing something different, like, well,
give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot, guys. Don't have to be such close-minded, fucking fickle bastards, you goddamn pro wrestling fan motherfuckers. But anyway, after I've buried everybody here, we can kind of talk about some other stuff, including So I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a turning point, maybe, if you would, for AEW, where they're trying to launch back into the stratosphere. It's not quite going to hit the levels that they did maybe in 2021, but I'm hoping it doesn't go to shambles.
I don't know, man. With the inclusion of the New Japan players like Ospreay and stuff like that, I think if they do go the route of him Omega 3.
Yeah, at All In.
Omega 3, did not mean to do that.
Yeah.
Then that, I think, will reignite the fuse, so to speak.
Yes.
Those two main eventing, fuck. That's...
let me give you the two possibly main events of Forbidden Door that we have right now. So we have Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay is confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's got a main event to show. Like,
there's nothing.
It's not the world title; it's the IWGP US title, but I think it's the biggest match that they're building towards here.
And there will be nobody that could follow that. That would just
got to be the main event. We don't need MJF on the show.
No.
They got to do the thing, the angle where he just refuses to be a part of anything with New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You got Sonata as champ; he can defend against whoever. Like it's fine. But if you don't want to buy the pay-per-view after I tell you what the two matches that have been announced so far are, this one I just said, Ospreay versus Omega 2,
Mm-hmm.
and the other match that was confirmed at Dominion, Kazuchika Okada versus Bryan Danielson.
The internet exploded.
Are you going to buy this pay-per-view or what?
Am I? I'm definitely going to buy Forbidden Door. I'm gonna have to.
Danielson versus Okada.
Are
you kidding me?
It's awesome. Well, the selling point. It's in Canada. Yeah. Ospreay Omega 2. But yeah, hearing that, you're like, oh, of course.
And that's just two matches. I mean, yeah, the show's coming up here on what are we looking at? The 25th. So they got 3 weeks to build and announce more matches and things like that. But those are the two. Like, that seems like a pretty solid co-main event right there for those two matches. But, man, yeah, exciting stuff to look forward to. AEW's got a lot going on.
Yep.
Coming up this year. They got the video game. They got this, probably Blood and Guts in July, All In August, All Out in September, Grand Slam September. It's just it's ridiculous. Yep. I don't know how
nicely.
I don't know how Tony Khan's gonna be able to pull it all off, man.
I don't know how they're still in business.
Yeah, wait, that guy on the internet said that they were going to be bankrupt within 6 months. What happened with that? I'm just curious.
You must be pulling a Mike Lindell and extending it every cut by a few months at a time.
So they sold 135,000 buys for this most recent pay-per-view, which was lower than last year. So must means they're going bankrupt, right? Like the company's, it doesn't the $8 million gate at All In now. It doesn't matter. They're done. They're doomed. It's over. Glad we enjoyed it while it lasts. While it lasted. But I think the only other topic I had today, Soda, is this. What the fuck is Roman Reigns has another belt? There's another new WWE belt. Okay, yeah. I'm just, first of all, I want to throw it out here. I did a little rant about how stupid this WWE draft is, okay? Because they do this every fucking year.
Yeah.
And the fans kind of fell for it a little bit there. Like, oh, here comes the draft. The numbers go up a little bit. This year, it was like no ratings increase with the numbers. It was just the same shit. Because everybody's onto it now. It doesn't matter. They're going to say that people are exclusive to this show and people are exclusive to the other show. And then they're all just going to show up on all the different shows. It's so fucking stupid.
The only time the WWE draft was ever any good was from 2002 to 2004. That was it. Everything after that, well, I mean, maybe if you include 2005, but starting after that, it's like, that's when it starts to get, muddied, and it's like, my God, guys, just enough.
I feel like AEW is going to feel like it has the harder brand split than
totally
than WWE here coming up, because it's like you got to have Collision and Dynamite.
80-year-old man at the helm.
So let me ask you, Soda, you remember when Raw invaded SmackDown and you ask which time? Because there were so many times, right? Yep. Are you looking forward to when Collision invades Dynamite coming up there?
No, Tony Khan, like I said, WWE has a senile old man at the helm. Tony Khan is not. No, we know there's reasons why there's a split here.
So the senile old man who created a new belt because Roman Reigns couldn't challenge for it. They had all these other guys challenge. Yeah. Oh, Roman Reigns can't challenge for this belt because he's on Raw, or he's
the problem is
he's on SmackDown.
In the old days, Vince McMahon would always book title reigns, like the heavyweight title reigns. They would book this shit well enough in advance. The problem is now Vince McMahon continually backed himself into a corner. That's what it was. It's like they wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too. They kind of put it in this weird place. Now, this new title that debuted the other night is just basically to replace the two. That's all it is.
Yeah. That's what I thought they were going to do. But then they were like, no, this is a new world title.
Well,
so
yeah,
they had three world titles, and now they're down to two. Yeah. One of them is the two of them merged. It's like,
yeah. See what I mean?
Making my head explode.
They wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too.
And they said Roman Reigns couldn't challenge for one of the belts because he was on the other show. Yeah. Then you got guys from the other show in this fucking tournament.
I know. WWE logic hasn't made sense in a long ass time.
I think people are saying it made a little bit more sense when Vince was gone for those few months. Slightly more sense, and now he's back, and now it's
he's no longer behind. He's no longer there on Mondays and Fridays. He does it remotely now, but he still does it.
He still tears up those scripts for Raw.
Yeah, apparently it's not the whole script. It's usually like the main event. Usually,
oh my God.
But he still had. You can still see his fingerprints all over some things.
I told you. I fucking told you. Nobody listens to me. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Well, again, I'm not super interested in WWE really, but whatever. Roman's got a new belt. Seth's got the other belt. They'll probably.
But that's not the thing, though. That's not the cool thing that came out of that segment, though. The cool thing that came out of the segment was when the Usos arrived, because you're glossing over that they had that Night of Champions. They had the Bloodline implode. This week was the showdown, and it appeared that they finally convinced Solo to side with them. No, Solo turned his back, and he's sticking with Roman. So that's what it looks like. The main event, the match is going to be either at at Money in the Bank is going to be Usos versus Solo and Roman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no more Bloodline.
Bloodline's done basically. It's now down to Roman and Solo.
All right.
Yeah, and if for those of you who are watching and who are interested in WWE, the Cultaholic put out a good 8-minute video today. It's called the 3 reasons why Solo Sikoa is a turn on the Usos or stayed with Roman or whatever. And they're 3 storyline reasons that are actually all very compelling. And it would fit nicely into the current Bloodline stuff.
If they went in any of those directions. The problem is it's just really difficult for me to care.
Oh, totally.
I'm sorry. Like at this point, I cared up until about WrestleMania, and now I don't really care anymore.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry.
It's not for me. It's for the viewers.
Yeah. Well, there we go. I think I don't know if there's really
one more thing. Congratulations to Emma and Madcap Moss on getting engaged.
Oh yes.
Oh, and Ty. Did we mention it about Ty and Sammy? Oh yeah, we probably did during the watch along.
We did. Probably did. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I was talking with somebody recently about getting like a dog, as a pet, and man, it's so much work. Like you gotta feed it. You gotta let it out to go poop. You gotta train it. All this stuff.
Did you just compare a child to a dog?
It's a lot of work. Well, I'm getting there. My point here is that why would you get a dog? That's a lot of work, right? Why would you do such a thing? Oh, well, you can come up with it. But even more so, why in the ever-loving fuck would you ever get married?
And well, he froze. Awesome. Yeah, he told me this would happen. He's been having internet issues at his place because he just moved in. Yeah. Love it when this happens. You know what? While we're doing this, I'm going to look up something. This week in wrestling history. See what went down this week in wrestling history. Well, on this day, okay. Oh, Jesus, never mind. Hey, man.
Hang on. I'm switching over to my emergency hotspot here. Give me a second.
Oh,
Okay, there we go. Well, we're gonna wrap up the show anyway, so
Yeah, I was actually contemplating if just ending it right there.
Probably would have been fine. Do you have any? You said you were gonna do a this day in wrestling history.
I was actually going to do that to film time, but I was thinking of actually doing that next week and actually
next week. Okay, new segment. Nice tease.
Yeah, I actually do have some plans for it.
We got a new segment thing that we're gonna start up this week. Yeah, I apologize. It's weird. I have internet here that works great, but then the router randomly decides to reset itself. So something I might have to figure out here before the next show. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna wrap it up here, guys. Appreciate y'all that are gonna be watching this on the replay and everything. Soda, where can everybody find you? Got anything coming up fun you want to plug?
You know what? Nothing really big coming up. Just the usual Soda_the_Saxman on Instagram and Twitter, and over in the Northern Entertainment Group.
There we go. And you know where you can find me? At Dagan SB, Dagan SB, on the Twitters and the Instagrams. And that's going to do it, guys. Appreciate y'all. And we'll be back next week, hopefully with better internet. And we'll see all you geeks then. Cheers, everybody.